Hey, yo, check this out. Before we go any further into the review, I know niggas is going to be mad at Charlie Olives because of the way that he fought in his BMF title fight. Now, for those that ain't new to my channel and for those that are new to my channel, I've been said this BMF, this fight tonight was just a super fight for me just because of who Charles Oliveria is. Well, I like to call him Charlie Olives, and then Max Holloway. But the BMF as a whole is just borderline WWE boxing-ish. The sport of MMA don't need another unnecessary belt. This is one of the reasons why, I criticize boxing so much is because boxing have all these different titles with these different promotions. It's like, it's really unnecessary. In WWE, what WWE is WWE. Y'all catch my drift with that. So this whole thing about BMF is really just, it's an unnecessary belt, a gimmick belt, just to show these guys how badass these niggas is. But the sport of MMA don't need that. But yeah, I know niggas gonna be mad because this is not how you supposed to fight for BMF. But at the end of the day, what you think? What y'all think was gonna happen? We're in the sport of MMA. Granted, the UFC in today's era, and for those that's new to my channel, you can go to my archive videos. I've been talked about the UFC I grew up watching versus the UFC y'all see today. And this new UFC is basically low-key WWE for real fighting. Like, it's all entertainment. So I know niggas gonna be mad because this ain't how you supposed to fight under these circumstances. But this is sport of MMA. I mean, what y'all thought was gonna happen with somebody like Charlie Olives, who is a BJJ guy? He is a jiu-jitsu practitioner. This is what the fuck he do. It was, even though it's not the way, it was smart and it was dominant. But hey, it's your boy DHP, and y'all know the rest, man. And this is my UFC 326 review show. And yeah, I just had to get that shit out the way because before I hit record, I seen a lot of niggas post a little post whatever on social media. And I know other content creators, they doing live stream to their review show. I know niggas mad. And look, I get it. Well, I get it, but then at the same time, I'm not surprised because at the end of the day, this is what the sport is. This is what happens when you have a striking base fighter in Max Holloway. And then even though Charlie Olives can get down with the hands, but at the end of the day, what do Charlie Olives do? Which, we're going to get to in a minute. But I was dead wrong about this. It was this fight and the RoboCop fight I was dead wrong about. But what do Charlie Olives like to do? If he'll stand there and box with you and trade with you, but at the end of the day, his game plan is to get your ass on the ground and try each and every way to submit you. Now, and credit to Max Holloway's submission defense, because he really tried. Charlie Olives really tried to submit this nigga, but I mean, this what happens, y'all. This what happens. You can't be, I understand the frustration because y'all want the entertainment factor. I want the entertainment factor too. But at the same time, I'm all about the sport. And this is exactly what could have happened. I gotta go recheck my preview and see because I like to do, keys to victory on both sides of the coin. And I'm pretty sure I said this about Charlie Olives. But I'm gonna go through the main card. And then we're gonna talk about the fights. Charlie Olives took a decisive decision. He is the new BMF title holder, I guess. I'm not even gonna talk about this shit no more with the BMF. It's just my personal opinion is that it puts Charlie Olives one step closer to getting that Ilya Taporia rematch, which I ain't gonna hold you. Ilya might wreck shop unless he's ready to move up to welterweight. I'm gonna talk more about the White House on Monday's weekend recap because I got some shit to say about that. Tonight is all about 326. Cabarello took a unanimous decision over RDR. Raul Rosas Jr., took a 3-round decision over Rob Font. Chee Wee Wees. Drew Dober took a second round. It was a nice 1-2 that set MJ down. He disguised it with the right and then came back with the left and sat MJ down. That was nice. Second got him out in the second round. And a RoboCop with basically with a Mark Hunt walk-off KO over Bruno Ferreira in the first round. But back to Max Holloway and Charlie Hollis from start to finish. And I was telling my boy in a personal message, I'm like, this shit really, it really highlights how much better Islam and Ilya Taporia is. Because if you really think about it, in between the surface, Charlie Olives since he gone up to lightweight, Charlie Olives has not lost to anybody but Islam and Ilya Taporia. That Armin Sayukin. You know what? Scratch that. Armin Sayukin. But that Armin Sayukin fight was close. Which I'm low-key interested in seeing if they will run that rematch back. Like, I really want to see that rematch between him and Armin Sayukin. But besides them three, ain't nobody been able to beat Charlie Olives. Low-key, niggas do forget that Armin Sayukin. I even forgot for a split second. Niggas forget that Armin Sayukin did beat Charlie Olives. But it was like a close decision. It wasn't really a decisive. But from start to finish, Charlie Olives, he just dominated Max Holloway. And the crazy thing about it, and I always go back to this fight because Max's first fight at lightweight against Dustin Poirier, he really didn't do all that bad, but the fact that Dustin was just so more powerful, he was a more powerful, stronger fighter. It's like every punch that he threw at Max, it just stunned him. And that kind of reminded me of this fight, even when they were exchanging in the pocket and outside of range. It seemed like none of the strikes really affected Charlie Olives. And then when Charlie Olives was throwing his combinations, his hooks, and he was doing nice level changes, with teep kicking to the body, it was really hurt. It was stunning Max. And then as Max would get stunned, that's when Charlie Olives would shoot in, push him against the cage, and then he was just so overwhelming stronger than Max that he was just able to bully him. That little meme, the infamous meme with Marty Usman and Leon Edwards. Don't let him bully you, son. That's exactly what that shit was. Max let Charlie Olives bully him. In which it was, you know what? I might have to go re-look at my preview, what I said, like, in depth. But I didn't see this coming where Charlie Olives, striking wise, would impose and would be a more opposing will than Max Holloway striking would be. I figured Max Holloway would rock, would get the better of Charlie Olives standing up, and then it comes to a point where Charlie Olives may get a counter, and that's when he go, do his grappling shit. But, for me personally as a fan, or I wouldn't even say as a fan, because I really like to distinguish myself from like a fanboy, because at the end of the day, I'm a fan of the sport. So I have, a couple guys that, I support, but at the end of the day, I'm a fan of everybody because I love the sport of MMA. So, win or lose, I'm here to critique, praise, and be in awe of all these guys in the sport. But Charlie Olives, but we want to talk about support. Other than like Cam Zad and Izzy, Charlie Olives and Max Holloway is right up there. Is right up there. In fact, you might could say Max and Charlie Olives is like 1A and 1B for me. On this channel, on my other platform, Instagram, I had Charlie Olives. As a matter of fact, my YouTube too. My YouTube, I actually changed it to my actual picture, what I actually look like. But starting out, my YouTube channel, it was the Charlie Olives Brazil wallpaper joint. So yeah, I'm actually I support Max and Charlie Olives hugely. So, either way, I'm like, win or lose, either way, it's a bittersweet because I'm gonna be happy for whoever won, but I'm like, damn, it hits my soul for whoever loses. Basically, like last time I felt about that was Conor versus Eddie, cause during that time I did fuck with Conor, but when I was watching Bellator, Eddie Alvarez and Michael Chandler and Daniel Strauss, those were the three fighters that I gravitated towards Bellator. So when Eddie Alvarez made the jump to the UFC first, I stuck with Eddie Alvarez, So it was kind of like a bittersweet moment for me seeing him fight Conor, because UFC-wise, with the newbies, Conor is who I gravitated to, but like the OGs of another organization, Eddie Alvarez, I gravitated towards him, and I was happy to see him finally make the jump to ship into the UFC. So I'm like, cool. I get to see, one of my favorites go into the UFC and get more of a mainstream press, So, but Charlie Olives and Max Holloway, yeah, I was like, this whoever wins or loses, I'm like, yeah, let's go. Whoever loses, I'm like, fuck, we gotta go back to the drawing board type shit. But Max, he couldn't do a damn thing in this fight, bro. He couldn't do a damn thing in this fight. He had little bright moments in this fight, but it was like Charles, he was just too strong. And his chin, and one of the things I did say, I remember saying in the preview, I'm like, I want to know, because he beat Mateusz Gamrot. Like that was a dominant fight to the point where it wasn't a true indicator of how Charlie's chin was after the Ilya fight. I'm like, with Max Holloway is definitely going to test Charlie Olive's chin. And he low-key did at times, but it seemed like everything that Max threw, it wasn't really effective, which is crazy if you look at the MMA math. Like, that's why, it's so funny when you talk about MMA logic, because you look at Justin Gaethje, somebody like Justin Gaethje, who was able to hurt Charlie Olives, but then Max Holloway go out there, and not only did he dominate Justin Gaethje, but then he went in and knocked him out within like the last 10 seconds or so. And then, you look at Dustin Poirier's last fight, Max Holloway. And that's why I really chose Max Holloway, because I'm like, he's coming in like he's been strangely more faster and powerful at lightweight. Like, we didn't see especially the power. Like, we didn't see this power at featherweight, but lightweight, he got some power to him, And then Dustin Poirier fight, even though it was Dustin Poirier's last fight, the writing was on the wall with Dustin. Like, he don't have that dog mentality in him no more. Like, he can still box his ass off, but he don't have that dog mentality in him. And Max was really hurting Dustin. So I'm like, it's crazy that he was able to do this to two of the baddest motherfuckers at lightweight. But he do this, but what we saw tonight, it just like Charlie Olives just ate that shit for breakfast. Like, it didn't even affect him at all. That's why we say, MMA, you really can't do MMA logic. Like, for example, like Paul Craig. Like, this nigga Paul Craig done beat so many niggas that's he beat Jamal Hill. He beat Jamal Hill, and didn't he beat Ankalaev? Like, my nigga Paul Craig beat Ankalaev and Jamal Hill. Submitted him. He actually submitted Jamal Hill and broke his arm. And then Jamal Hill, like, after that, Jamal Hill ended up getting on a nice run, ended up becoming a light heavyweight champ. Now he's on this downward spiral because, I think this Achilles kind of is fucking him up. But the fact remained that Paul Craig never even got into a top 5, let alone title conversations. But yeah, Jamal Hill, after that fight, Jamal Hill bounced back in a major way and became light heavyweight champ. Like, you see how the MMA logic, like the logic in the sport of MMA is just so fucking crazy, because you can beat one nigga, but then the next nigga you could get dominated, but the nigga you just beat goes on a crazy ass run, and he ended up becoming hypothetically one of the best in the weight class now. It's just so fucking crazy. Like more recently, Charles Johnson. Charles Johnson beat Joshua Van and Lonier Kavanaugh, and now Joshua Van is now the second youngest champion in UFC history and the current flyweight champ. And now Lonier Kavanaugh ended up beating Brandon Moreno, and now Lonier Kavanaugh is inside the top 10 rankings and pretty much one fight away from getting from being title conversation. But Charles Johnson, who's not even, who's at the bottom half, beat both of them. And just all of a sudden, both of them overjumped him. You see how fucking crazy that shit is? So it's like, it's crazy to think about that shit, what we just saw tonight. But, yeah, this was just pure domination. He just smothered him. That's going to be the title of my video. He just smothered him with just pure strength and just high-level BJJ. And then striking-wise, it was like Max was like literally no match. Like, low-key, you can honestly say that Charlie Olives beat Max at his own, other than the grappling, him grappling Max, he beat Max at his own game with the technical boxing. It wasn't even straight boxing, but Charlie Olives, he was throwing his T kicks. He was nice level changing. But and then the leg kicks, they mentioned on the broadcast, some of this, I was in and out with the audio, but the broadcast, they was saying this the game plan that Volk, stuck with that he beat Max with. And even though it wasn't as powerful, because Charlie Olives was throwing some powerful leg kicks, it was like Charlie Olives, not only did he out grapple him and just embarrass him on the ground, but it's like he technically broke Max Holloway apart striking wise all over. Nice powerful leg kicks, nice level changes, did some body work, nice hooks and jabs. This probably like Volk, the way Volk beat Max, it was kind of like frustrating. Cause you can see the openings where Max can like beat Volk, but then Volk was just shut down in the offense. This probably like the first time we've seen Max get just embarrassed and destroyed. Honestly, you can't really say embarrassed by Ilya Taporia, because Max, the Max and Ilya Taporia fight was like, okay, he's hanging in with Ilya Taporia. Like he had more success in the Ilya Taporia fight than he did tonight. But that Taporia fight, it was like Ilya, he all of a sudden he just flipped the switch. It's basically like how he did Volk. Like, if you really go back and watch them two fights with Volk and Taporia, and Taporia and Ilya Taporia and Max Holloway, Volk and Max was having success against Ilya, but it seemed like when Ilya flipped that switch, it wasn't nothing them niggas can do. This fight right here with Charlie Olives and Max Holloway, this shit was like, from start to finish, it was nothing. It wasn't no flip switch. It was just Charlie Olives basically outclassed Max Holloway in the sport of MMA. Like, this was an all-around MMA outclassing. And Instagram, y'all know it's gonna cut off at the 20-minute mark. So this is a straight, Charlie Olives, Max Holloway talk for y'all niggas. This was definitely an all around just straight MMA outclassing. Like, yeah, it's hard pressed to say nobody has embarrassed. Same shit I said about after Ilya knocked out Charlie Olives. I'm like, I've never seen nobody knock Charlie Olives out, like, lights out cold like that. Nobody, like, niggas hurt Charlie Olives and rocked Charlie Olives before and, like, finished him with TKO strikes, but nobody has ever knocked Charlie Olives out cold like that, and Ilya just did that. Well, tonight, we never seen Max Holloway get destroyed like this all the way around. And maybe it would have been like this had Max fought Khabib. Because Max was supposed to fight Khabib, but something happened. So I think that's how Ally Aquina got the fight. But maybe this would have been if Max was the if he was the fight could be. But man, bruh, this was fucking crazy. This live time and reaction right now, recording this review, just thinking about this shit, I'm like, damn, bro. And I'm not even mad that, like, I'm not even mad that Charlie Oliveria fought this way. It's more so like, damn. Max Holloway is like so close. Now, to be quite honest, because I said that Max Holloway, out of any one of them that, you know, that could take a loss tonight was Max Holloway. Because I did felt like that he can beat the rest of, like, the lightweight contenders. But after tonight, you could say he could lose to Matus Ganrod or somebody, you know. But yeah, I mean, from start to finish, I mean, it was just a pure ass whooping. But yeah, Charlie Oliveira got the job done, and now he's the new BMF title holder, I guess. I don't know if, I guess we'll talk about it more on Monday, but I don't know if now they're gonna, if that's gonna get Conor McGregor to come back out. Now that we know, like, the White House card is finalized, Conor's not on the White House card, so more than likely, Conor is gonna be for International Fight Week. He keeps saying on Instagram that he's gonna fight the winner of this fight. So I guess Charlie Oliveira and Conor's next, I'm assuming. But I would rather Charlie Oliveira, now that he beat Max the way he did, he can put his name right back in the hat to try to get a rematch. Honestly, he can get his rematch on Arman Sayukin and Ilya Sporia. Because going back to the MMA logic, Charlie Oliveira just beat Max Holloway, who just beat Justin Gaethje. And Justin Gaethje is fighting for the belt now. Because he beat Paddy Pimblett, you know. But on to the co-main event, Caio Borralho and RDR. This fight, other than early parts of the second round, this fight went exactly how I thought it would. If RDR couldn't really overwhelm Caio Borralho and backpack him and try to get him to the ground, Caio Borralho, he was going to pick RDR apart. And that's exactly what happened in this fight. The first round, RDR, he got to stop throwing out his chin like that, because the way he positioned his chin is stuck out too fucking much. But Caio, in that classic, you know, Muay Thai, hands down, this is what I've been saying about the fight nerds niggas. Like, you got to give it to him. Now, Caio, we're going to get to that third round, because that was actually shocking. That Caio was able to out-wrestle RDR out of all niggas. But this is what I've been saying about the fight nerd niggas. Like, these niggas, like, when it comes to striking and Muay Thai, these niggas is A1. And Caio Borralho, he was just nice little jabs to the body. He was sticking and moving. He was jabbing him, giving him some hooks. He was piecing RDR up in that first round. The leg kicks was hurting RDR. Like, RDR, he was speaking of outclass, he was getting outclassed on the feet. And then the second round happened. He started starting to grapple Caio Borralho, push him against the cage, clinching him up, trying to wear him out. And you can, as the fight went on, Caio Borralho did get tired, but RDR was also tired too. It seemed like RDR got some cardio issues. Like, I need to do research on, like, what the fuck is causing him to, like, tire out so easily. Like, I want to know if he has a condition. I got to look into that. Because Caio Borralho, he was tired in this fight, but also RDR, he was also tired in this fight. But that second round, now the judges' scorecards pretty much had Caio winning, like, all the rounds. But I actually gave RDR that second round, and then The third round, Caio Borrello was able to out-grapple RDR, got RDR on the ground, was able to do a couple ground-to-pound damage and control him on the ground. And that was shocking. That was shocking because I feel like that in hindsight, it was actually smart because he's able to steal that control time back from RDR because he know that he can handle RDR on the feet. But at that time, I was like, bro, get the fuck up, bro. Like, this is RDR. This nigga gonna reverse position and he either gonna submit you on the bottom with a triangle or armbar or he's gonna flip and reverse position and get top mount or back flat you and get you out of there with a rear naked. So in real time, like, bro, get the fuck up, bro. Like, come on, KO. What are you doing? But credit to KO. He was able to actually take him down, control him, and do some damage on them when they got back on their feet. I'm pretty sure the significant strikes from the combi box was actually much more closer than what it was. But KO, he just landed the more damage and powerful shots. But, yeah, this fight went down exactly how I thought. If Caio Borrello forced RDR to sit there and strike with him, it wasn't going to be pretty. And that's exactly what happened with this fight. So, RDR, I did say it was a must-win fight for both of them. More so RDR because how his last fight his last fight was atrocious with him quitting on the stool. But, I mean, he's going to have to go back to the drawing board. This probably won't be the end for RDR. Like, now he's going to have a longer road to get to where he need to be, but he ain't going to bounce outside the top 15 now. He's going to be like the bottom half, but he's still going to be ranked. So he got a couple more chances to rewrite this ship. I believe RDR is like, what, 3-2 in the UFC now? Yeah, he's like what, 3-2? Because he beat GM3. Yeah, he beat GM3. He beat Bo Nickel. Then he beat Kevin Harlan. But then lost to Brendan Allen. And now he lost. He might be 4-2. 4-2, I believe. Yeah, because he beat Robert Whittaker. But he lost to Brendan Allen and Caio Borrello. So, I mean, I feel like at his stages in his career, he definitely couldn't afford to lose against Brendan Allen. But he definitely, now that he couldn't afford to lose against Caio Borrello because where he at in his career, because he's not getting younger. But I will say UFC-wise, he's like 4-2. So record-wise in the UFC, I mean, he's not in danger. He's gonna have a longer road back to where he need to be. You know what I mean? But this was a nice win for Caio Borrello. And I seen he caught out DDP. I gotta check into DDP. I gotta check into DDP because there's something about, I said it on my last video like days ago, but DDP was supposed to come back. Either he's getting a fight booking or he's ready to return in April. So I gotta look into that. But he caught out DDP. So I didn't know what's going on with DDP. Because that would be an interesting fight. But I think DDP got a fight booking. But anyway, I'm going to check it out. Rob Font and Raul Rosas Jr. This was pure domination. This was like the only fight that I predicted it was supposed to be pure domination, which exactly was. Now, Raul, I don't know why. It was kind of like the Aaron Blanchfield fight. I forgot who the fuck did Aaron Blanchfield fight last. I forgot who Aaron Blanchfield fought last, but I'm sitting there like, Aaron, why are you not getting this fight to the ground? You're sitting there standing and striking with the girl. You need to get this fight to the ground. That's how I felt about Raul. I'm like, bro, Raul, why are we standing and trading Rob Font when you know exactly where you want this fight to be? When Raul, when he implemented his game plan with getting the fight to the ground, it was nothing Rob can do. It was basically a little prelude of what's to come for Charlie Olives and Max Holloway. Because that was pure domination. I would rather I was a little bit disappointed in the performance with Raul because I feel like he could have got the finish, but you know, it's a step in the right direction. Because now with him beating Rob Font, the way he was able to take him down and pretty much just dominate him, Raul is now a ranked fighter. He overtakes Rob Font's ranking in the top 15 of bantamweight. So this is the right direction. Now he has to keep improving and shit like that. Because now he's inside the top 15. Now he's going to get some good quality matchups where I feel like, you know, if he's ready, then he's ready. But for where we stand right now, he's a little too young right now. He needs more experience because I expected better out of Raul in this fight. But he got the job done in dominant fashion. Drew Dober and MJ, man, this was a bar burner. This was a barn burner. As I predicted, low key, this was fight of the night. This was fight of the night. And Drew Dober, he just caught MJ with a nice 1-2. He came with the right, and MJ blocked it, and then he came back with the left hook and just slept MJ. But you know, the first round, it was pretty much what we expected. MJ throwing his combinations, Drew Dober throwing his combinations. But Drew Dober, he caught MJ with a nice one and just slept him. So kudos to Drew Dober on that one. MJ is at the stage of his career where this is the type of fights that we're gonna be seeing him in, for real. He's low key at the Jim Miller stage. Like MJ at one point in time was top 5, top 6, top 7 type nigga at lightweight. Now he's really at the Jim Miller, Joe Lozon stage of his career where he's still that bad motherfucker when it comes to certain matchups, but this is where we at, you know. RoboCop and Bruno Ferreira, man, it was looking all right for Bruno until it wasn't, and Robo just, boy, what was the left or the right? I'm trying to remember. It was the left or the right. It was just all it took was one punch. That's all you niggas need to know. All it took was one punch for RoboCop. Oh, boy. This is what I was talking about. RoboCop, like, to me, he's, like, stiff. RoboCop is, like, stiff, but that power is, like, fucking crazy, bro. Oh, man. Like, with that, he legit can beat anybody at middleweight with that power, but there's other things with RoboCop where I'm like, there's certain matches where I feel like RoboCop is not gonna be able to survive. But 326 as a whole, it was, I thought, to be quite honest, now that, you know, we sit here, the pay-per-view is over, this wasn't the best pay-per-view card of the year. I thought this could have been, or this would be the pay-per-view card of the year that we've seen so far, but this wasn't, to be quite honest with you. And it's not because of Charlie Olive's doing what he did. It's just, I expected a little bit more out of some of these fights. But, overall, the pay-per-view was good tonight. I just expected a little bit more, you know, but... Max got to reset. You know, RDR got to reset. Charlie Olives, and it was a nice moment for Charlie Olives, you know, to get his wife and his father and his kids. That was nice. But yeah, man, this concludes 326 review show. So, hey, we on next week, y'all. The White House card, we're going to talk about the White House card on Monday. Weekend recap, so y'all stay tuned, because that's probably gonna be majority of the video is the White House card. But yeah, man, until my next video on Monday, I'll holler at y'all niggas later, man.